And that wraps up the intro to, what is this? Episode 16.
I'm excited. Hell yeah, 16.
October episodes, which means we're going to talk about Halloween.
Halloween.
Motherfucking John Carpenter, Halloween 78, and all of the damn timelines that it spirals into.
This is going to be a long one. We've decided to split this into a 3-parter to go through all the different timelines.
Which is wild. It's wild. There's so much to cover. They started doing this fucking bullshit like, oh, well, we don't want to acknowledge the previous movies. We're just going to do our own fucking thing with it. Like,
such a weird thing to do. And you can tell who hated which movies, the ones that didn't want to use 2 versus the ones that did. They're like,
absolutely.
Fuck 2.
We've actually seen that in modern times with the Star Wars modern trilogy. Like, God. Okay, we bring up that every time, but we'll get to that eventually. But yeah, so this part 1 episode of Halloween will be what is referred to as the sequel timeline, which also includes the Thorn trilogy.
The Thorn trilogy. What an interesting thing.
Interesting, but haphazardly done.
Definitely by the hair on their chins and they come up with this shit.
And it's just weird to think about too. They're like, oh, we need to introduce something new to Murderer Stalk's babysitter / sister.
They really took it to a whole new level, but they also took their dang time doing it.
Yeah.
Like at the end of 4, you barely see Mr. Boots.
Mr. Boots.
Mr. Boots.
The man in black.
The man in boots.
I don't even actually remember what they refer to him as. It might be the man in black, but it's something stupid.
It's something, but he's Mr. Boots. But anyways, yeah.
All right, from this moment on, he is Mr. Boots.
Mr. Boots. If you know his real name, don't comment it. It's Mr. Boots. But so this is your host, Rex.
And your boy, Practical.
We're going to get started right now with the first movie.
Halloween 1978.
Good year.
Good year for movies.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
it's
it's so weird watching these old slashers from back then. They've got a charm.
It's one of the slashers that started it all, at least in America. It had its influence from other places, and there'd been a couple scattered ones before, but nothing quite like Halloween. And I was going to say that to kick this off, like, what are we going to say about Halloween that really hasn't been said already? But we're still going to do it.
We're going to
fucking do it.
You're going to fucking listen.
But all that being said, this movie is Jamie Lee Curtis's movie debut. She'd done TV shows in 77, the year prior, but this is the first debut film for her and the first collaboration with John Carpenter, because she would obviously, be the voice of the intercoms in Escape from New York, which is weird. Like, it's just a stupid little fact, but she is that voice, so it's interesting. I can't remember if she's been in any of the other shit though.
She was looking good back then.
Absolutely, yeah. They
all were.
Yeah.
For the 70s.
Yeah, hell yeah. Fucking
big hair, big everything. Like, this is great.
Yeah. It really kicked off the slasher phenomenon too, because it spiraled a bunch of just wannabe success stories in that realm. Like, well, we have an idea for a slasher and we have an idea for one, and it led to a lot of cool shit. I mean, I'm a big fan of those like sleeper slasher films. Not so much the ones everyone knows, but all the ones that Halloween basically fucking influenced.
Well, I mean, the movie cost $300,000 to make, I think, and it grossed like $50 million. Talk about a win.
That'll be an ongoing theme for this entire. That's the whole reason that sequel after sequel was made. They're like, we can make them on really low budgets and get a fucking fat return, and
Plus,
biggity backety boom.
The shape.
The shape.
Wasn't, you know, I messaged you about this, but he was really tiny in number 1, Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. They do that shot they always do with Michael Myers where you're looking the same way he is. The camera's behind him though, and you like see his lower back, and then up to behind his head, what he's staring at. And while he was doing that, I was like, "Holy moly, this is little Michael."
It's funny you call him the Shape too, because before there was never a plan for the sequel. Like I said, like it was a one-off. So he basically was intending him to mostly just be referred to as the Shape. It was just kind of a side thing that his name was Michael Myers, but it just
caught on.
So successful, and like, yeah, like, how are you not going to make a sequel to that when you can make fucking, that's like a ridiculous amount of your investment back, you know? I mean,
talk about becoming filthy rich.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. So it's like, it becomes a cash cow. It kicks off, you know, the horror franchise in a way. I mean, there were others, but this is the biggest one, I think. And for horror, I think it is the biggest one. Halloween must be the most popular out of all of them.
Really? Even more than Freddy and Jason?
I mean, Freddy and Jason are both popular, but I don't think they're quite as popular as Halloween. Like, I don't know. I don't know what statistic we would have to look up for that, but I just feel like Halloween's bigger.
On its income to spending ratio.
Yeah. And it shares... It's weird to think about that because it shares its title with a holiday name. So was that a marketing ploy? Like, we'll get more people talking about it because every Halloween, someone's going to bring up Halloween. And it's like, that's a creative way to spread word of mouth before the internet, you know? Like,
for sure. Probably why they did Friday the 13th.
I was just thinking because, that. Yeah, you know, hell yeah.
Everybody knows that, just like Halloween. Oh, it's Friday the 13th.
And it was like a ritual to watch this movie, you know, like every Halloween you jump into it and it's like a tradition eventually. You're like, I got to watch Halloween on Halloween, or at least during the month of October. You know?
It's like The Nightmare Before Christmas. Most people either watch it Halloween or Christmas or both, because it's kind of like tradition. It goes with it. You just associate that with those times.
Yeah, absolutely. It's probably what Eli Roth was going for by calling that movie Thanksgiving. I don't know if it'll have the same effect, but
maybe.
We'll see.
I don't know if everybody's going to watch it on Thanksgiving, but I mean,
it's time to cut the turkey and watch him cut up some fucking people.
Yeah. That's a weird one to watch a horror movie on with the family, because you're with the family. Halloween, the family does its own thing. They're like, oh, we're trick-or-treating or blah, blah, blah. But if you're staying home giving out candy, you're probably going to watch Halloween.
You should.
Know? Or Trick or Treat. I like that movie.
Halloween has everlasting appeal. Like the first one to me, and just in general, is like, it's iconic as fuck, and it's got relatively no blood in it, like for what is going on in the movie, which is also wild. Except it just does all the right things.
When
you know?
She stabs him in the neck with that hanger wire.
Brutal. Well, obviously, those of you who probably know, the movie is about a character named Laurie Strode being stalked by a unstoppable killer by the name of Michael Myers.
The Shape.
And Michael Myers is being pursued by Dr. Loomis, Donald Pleasance, who was a big deal at the time.
He's a big
Rex's
deal in those
favorite.
movies. Oh, I like him. I like him. He's very over the top, very fucking obnoxious, but
I shot him 6 times.
6 times, Sheriff. 6 times. I shot him 6 times.
It's like, it could be fucking anybody. He just runs up to the sheriff and he's like, I shot him 6 times. I guess that is in the second one. Well, it's at the end of the first one too, but
it's the end of the first one, start of the second one. They both coincide together. But the first one, tell me what you really like about this movie.
It's, I don't know. I think it shares a lot of elements with like noir films where Michael's almost always in the shot at some point somewhere, whether he's in the car in the background or hiding in a bush or behind the clothesline.
That is Michael.
It's filmed in a pretty sick ass way. And I think, you know, it's a good representation. It comes out in 78. So it's a good representation of what like the 80s are going to be like. It's like, I was born in 85. I didn't see this movie till probably 85, which is, you know, only 10 years old, but again, it's relatively modest except for like the murders and shit.
You were born in 85?
Oh yeah, I was born in 85. Yeah. That's not the year I was born.
No wonder you love this.
No.
I went to the theater.
This was my crib baby movie. I was like, fuck yeah. No. So yeah, I didn't see it till like 95 is more accurate. Maybe 96. Probably around the time I discovered Scream. Because I remember just going to the video store and being like, ooh, a horror movie. Because, again.
Yeah.
Like,
once you find it, you either love it or you fucking don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
You're scared.
I mean, it was probably suggested to me by my dad or something too, because, he's old enough to probably have seen it in the theater and was like, oh, you should check this out if you're getting into this. Because that's how a lot of our conversations started. So, but other than that, I just love it. Like I said, it's the shots. It's the fact that it's relatively modest in the blood, but the music plays really key parts.
Oh man, the music makes part of these movies.
Yeah, it really carries that ominous feeling of Michael is around and he's going to fucking axe you. As long as you're a big-titted babysitter. I mean, that seems to be really his only target. I mean, or if you're fucking, because he does kill the guy that is banging away on...
In 4 or no 5?
In the first one.
Oh, in the first one, yeah.
Because he kills him in the house,
Yeah.
That's the one where he does his infamous fucking stab him head tilt, like look at him for a minute, and then they replicate that every goddamn time afterwards. Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I love this movie. Like I said, it's pretty important to me. So it's an all-around thing. I love John Carpenter, so it ties into that now after the fact. And yeah, I mean, do you like this movie? I don't really know how you actually feel about any of these movies. That's the funny thing.
Ooh. Yeah, I actually really like this movie. I've watched Halloween before many times. The second one I've seen 2 or 3 times. So it was a nice refresh for that one, but I've seen the first one a bunch.
Hell yeah. I also just want to bring up something you said before we hit record, which just warmed my soul for a minute. But when you brought up doing the Metallica episode, and had you not listened to everything, you wouldn't have found new shit.
Yes.
That you like by them. And I think that's sick. And the reason that warms my soul is because that's why I wanted to do the podcast, was like, just check them out. Just check it out and see if you like it, because it's a sweet ass way to
it's a way to discover new stuff.
Yeah. Get
it's
into
good.
it,
It's good stuff.
So, hearing you say that about Halloween 1 and, you're glad you rewatched them, that's what made me think of that. So shout out to that.
I am glad. Even the ones I didn't really like, I'm glad I watched them, because I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever seen 3, 4, or 5.
Interesting. The third one I knew, that's why I was like, please watch it after 2. So you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that like the one rest is interesting. But for 1, I really like 1. It's very classic slasher horror. Babysitters killing while having sex, some titties. I was sad that this series has a lack of titties. If we compare it to like Friday the 13th, you get a lot of full-on titties in that series. This one, not so much. You still see them, maybe one set every episode or every movie almost, or at least a good outline. But yeah, not a lot of titties. But
it's funny you bring that up.
I'm not gonna hate on that for this.
Why was up? It's funny you bring it up, because in any other conversation that would be such a weird sentence, like, there wasn't enough titties, and I don't know why, but for a slasher movie it's perfectly acceptable because you come to expect it. It's like, all right, I'm watching a slasher film, there's gonna be a set of breasts in this movie that are just like fucking those titties.
Yep. But not going to hold that against anything. I would just kind of notice that throughout. But the first one I really like. Yeah, it's old style feel. And, interestingly enough, when watching this Thorn trilogy, I saw a lot of parallels to the newer trilogy. Like a lot of reused ideas, it felt like. And which is kind of cool. Yeah. It was kind of cool. For the first one, though, I like Dr. Loomis's character. Did he let Michael out?
No, fuck no.
Okay. So
why would he fucking do that?
Well, because he was being blamed for it in the first one.
Yeah,
like, but you let him out. He's like, I would never. And I'm like, but did you though?
No, Loomis would never do some shit like that.
Yeah, but it was just a fun thing that they threw out there.
Like I said, like Loomis is the only one through the whole movie where he's like trying to be the voice of reason, and people are like, he's just some fucking mental patient, bro. Why don't you just relax?
Well, let's be fair. A rational person wouldn't be like, yeah, the guy that Laurie Strode shot in both of his eyes was shot 6 other times, stabbed in his neck, blown up. Yeah, that guy's going to come back after being in a coma for 10 years and come.
Well, yeah, but I'm just
talking
about in the first one though. Like he spends his whole career like telling people like, don't let Michael out. You know, no one's listening to him. He's just like, don't let him go. Don't let him go. And when the hearing time comes, they choose to move him to a place that's like not even as, you know, good for Michael. It's like, you know, it's his opportunity to get out. It's like, and he knows it. So Loomis is ignored there. Then he does escape on the night he's being transferred. And then he goes to Haddonfield and everyone's looking at him like he's a fucking psycho. I mean, not everybody, but the sheriff seems to believe him at first. But as the night goes on, it's like
his patience wanes.
Yeah, but he's getting sick and tired of their shit.
On the flip side on that, though, in that time, in that era, how often was something like this going on? Especially someone who was a child back then, like especially if they haven't done anything bad throughout their time in prison, like they're gonna look like a model person. He eats, he does what he's told, he goes to his room, blah blah blah. So he earned being moved to a lighter place. Earned, you know. Obviously he goes crazy and it was a bad thing, but back then it wasn't normal for kids or people to be that psycho. I say that, but then in that time was like Ted Bundy.
I was just gonna say,
but I'm just saying, like, but you know, it was a time where you could leave your door unlocked at night. Your neighborhood, you didn't lock your door.
No, yeah.
So like, you have such a weird feeling of safety. I feel like it's hard to believe some mad dude who really screams at you the whole time he ever talks to you. And all he's telling you is that you're going, like, death is coming. Like, who's coming? Evil, pure evil, unadulterated evil. You know?
The boogeyman. The shape.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, look at it like that. You know these murders happen, but the way he's describing this person out of nowhere and you don't know this guy, you got to think, if this happened to you, are you going to take him 100 at his word? If some dude comes running up to you and goes, Sir, there's a man out there. He's evil. He's going to kill everybody.
He's British, so you can trust him more than you can trust an American person.
Not when he's yelling like that. I don't care what. If you come up yelling, like, give me some reason.
My alternative point to the point you're making is you have Haddonfield, which is a relatively quiet town where nothing ever happens. Then this guy's coming to you. It would be cause for alarm. Like, you wouldn't just be like brushing him off or doubting him because you don't know. I mean, if you're a cop in that position, your first thing should be like, probably should take this guy seriously because if I don't, on the off chance that I'm wrong, you know, this guy's going to butcher a whole bunch of my fucking civilians for no reason.
The sheriff did take him seriously.
But he doubted him the whole time.
Yeah, but he was waiting for proof. And let's be honest, up until near the end, he had no proof, really. Even after he shot Michael, he had no proof of this to show the sheriff. All he had was screaming. And it wasn't until the sheriff sees his daughter dead in the second movie that, you know, everybody takes him seriously, because up until then, nobody had seen anything. And he's just, you know, screaming off these things.
He had a little bit of proof. He had a little bit of suspicious proof, like going to the graveyard and Judith Myers' tombstone's being gone. Like, why would that be gone on the same night that he escapes? It's probably more than a coincidence in that time period, you know?
Probably, but I mean, you got to think, kids on Halloween who know who the Myers are and what they did. Kids do fucked up. Either way, I mean, I'm just saying, I understand why the cops weren't so on top of it. But
no, they're pussies. They cost people their lives. Come on.
What do you think they would have been able to do?
You get every cop out there looking for the guy that fits his description, which they do, but they do it later when it's too late, when he's already started killing people. Instead of just sweeping the streets. It's a small town where nothing's going on. What are those cops doing? Eating donuts, waiting for some shit to go down?
Dude, one of them
fucking solving petty robberies of a fucking Halloween shop.
They were going crazy. What is it? That one kid got hit by the car and smashed into the van and
but blew that's the
up.
Second one. That's already after those kids have been
that
killed.
Is right. That's the second one.
That's what I'm trying to paint the picture of, because you keep thinking that like we're talking about the series.
It's one continuous story.
It is, but this is the first time this town has seen Michael. So
except when he murdered his family.
Yeah, but he was 6 or whatever the fuck, or 8 or whatever the fuck.
I'm just saying, I understand their lack of urgency. Doesn't excuse that. Doesn't excuse what happened because of their lack of urgency. But I mean, you got to think 1988. You told somebody there was a school shooter. Not a lot of people are going to take it seriously back then because it's never happened. You say the same thing now.
It still isn't really taken that seriously, even with how many there are.
Not as seriously it should, but it's still taken more seriously, which in the later ones, I don't understand why they don't take it seriously. Because he comes back again. He's like, he's here. And they're like, not again, dude.
He's like, God damn it, I told you I shot him 6 times.
6 times! Sheriff!
Well, obviously, then, Michael runs a rampage, killing a bunch of Laurie's friends and tormenting Laurie. Yeah. And then the little kids get involved, they start getting chased by him with Michael hot on their tail, and shit gets crazy. And yeah, I mean,
Laurie's lucky she got out there alive.
She's a great final girl, though. Like, she's the start. She's the original, probably what influenced like Sidney Prescott.
Except in the later ones, she becomes typical.
But that's the later ones.
Just saying, they take her character when they bring her back.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the new ones, really, except in, but in the one of the other trilogies, they bring her back, and it's just not good. It's not good.
But it starts good to me, but it ends poorly. It ends in a way that makes no sense. With ends, coincidentally.
Ends, yeah.
Yeah, well, basically, I mean, there's not much to tell. You've seen this movie. Spoiler alert if you haven't, for the fucking 50 years it's existed or whatever. One interesting thing to note, though, is that Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out in 1973, 5 years before this movie.
Interesting.
So I'm thinking that Chainsaw Massacre had to have been a little bit of an influence to Carpenter. It's not a traditional slasher by any stretch, but Leatherface has that same energy, I think, where you're getting hunted down by this maniac in a mask, and that one has the unfortunate tie-in with the family being fucking psycho too, so you're just fucked all around. But yeah, I don't know, I just always think that's an interesting fact that Texas Chainsaw comes 5 years before this.
That is pretty early, so they must have done quite a few Texas Chainsaws by the time Halloween came out, because they did 1, 2, and right.
I don't remember when part 2 came out. I thought it was the 80s.
Like really? They waited that 82. Long?
I think it was a while. I could be wrong. That's probably something I need to look up real quick so I don't sound like a jackass, but I'm nearly positive that...
I wouldn't doubt it. They weren't... who knows? But the first one is good. I like the atmosphere. I like the old style of it. Like, it just has this...
1974. Excuse me.
1 year later.
1 year later. Still 4 years before. Yeah, so.
But yeah, I like the first Halloween. The music was great. The intro to 1 and 2 took forever. It was annoyingly long.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was sick watching the pumpkin split and like open up, and it's got that skull inside.
Oh yeah, in part 2.
Yeah. Takes way too freaking long though. Holy moly. I was like, dude,
it's eerie.
They could have. It's eerie at first. A minute and a half in, and I'm like,
God damn it.
I'm like, we're not even halfway. 6 times, Sheriff.
6 fucking times.
6 times.
I still love it because, like I said, he doesn't even specify who he's talking about. It
no,
could be fucking anybody. I shot him 6 times.
And see,
oh shit,
the cop takes him at his word.
Mm-hmm.
He does. Who'd you shoot 6 times? He goes, what?
Mm-hmm.
Get in. Where'd you get that?
Yeah, no questions. It's pretty normal for psychiatrists to just be packing like 38s or whatever the fuck that gun is. But yeah. Well, I don't know. What do you feel overall about Halloween?
I give it a 6.
A 6?
Yes.
Whoa.
Is that bad?
I don't know. I feel like if that's a 6, then your ratings for the rest of them are just going to be mind-blowing to me. Maybe not mind-blowing. I know they're not great movies by any stretch of the imagination. I guess if
I have to rate it on just a horror movie scale, if I rate it in a movie scale, it's probably about a 6. But if I rate it in a horror movie scale, it's probably about a 7 or 8.
But it is a horror movie. Why else would you rate it anything else?
I don't know. If you rate it with movies, just in general.
They can't be separate ratings.
They can be.
No.
Yeah. I feel like because sometimes horror movies are meant to be bad. They're not meant to be cinematic, artistic pieces. They're not meant to be on the same comparison scale as like...
But Halloween was. That's the point. Like Halloween didn't have much to compare itself to like Texas it does later. Chainsaw. Yeah, but they're not the same. They're just they're both horror films that revolutionize something. Like they're not... Yeah, it came before it because again, it's a dude chasing you with a mask. But Halloween's atmosphere is totally different. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is manic as fuck, and like you're on edge with everybody in a completely different way that the atmosphere is presented in Haddonfield. Like you feel like you're one of the townspeople while Michael just rapes the city all night long.
All night long. I've always rated horror movies on a separate scale, like compared to other horror movies, because I don't look at them as super crazy artistic pieces. That's just me. I mean, they're good. Some of them I really like, but I don't like look at one and be like, my God, this is like a Scorsese film. So comparing it to like a Scorsese film and other movies like that, I don't know. It's weird. Like horror movies, like campy ones or meta ones like Scream. I don't know.
So going forward, I can expect two different ratings per horror film.
Horror film, yeah.
But only for horror. Does that apply to any other genre?
Yeah, cartoon movies like Disney ones.
Interesting, because I totally understand that one for some reason, but
really?
I don't understand the horror. It's just, actually, no, I don't really get it either way. It makes a little bit more sense with cartoons, but it's just like, it's a movie still. Like, everything should be... Actually, I had that conversation with Bont, and he was like, oh, I'll give this a comedy a way shittier rating because it's still just a movie at the end of the day, and it didn't do anything to wow me. Like, and my argument was like, what are you expecting? Like a Scorsese quality comedy film? That's not a thing. That will never be a thing because the things that go into those movies, energy-wise, are two totally different things.
Yeah, but is it still fair to compare a movie like that versus a horror movie where they just kind of...
But that's what the genre division is for. Like, that's why you're judging it as a film comedy. It's still a film, and it's a comedy, but it should still be judged like with everything else because it's still just a film at the end of the day.
Well, that's why Halloween falls at a 6.
Well, like I said, I was going to say, don't ever change that. I want 2 reviews for everything going forward. So.
Yeah, it's a 6. But yeah, probably give it like a 7.5 in the horror. In my horror separation rating, my segregation.
Well, for me, it's probably going to blow your mind, but I give it a straight 10 out of 10. I love it. It's a huge influence on me. Yeah. As far as movies go, yeah, it was a huge influence on me wanting to A, watch more movies, but B, make movies. So, and while I haven't done that, I have written some scripts. And without it, I don't think Halloween would be... I don't know. I can't put it any lower than that. It's a pretty big deal to me.
And I understand that. That's cool. I think that's cool that this movie's a 10 for you. I like it a lot. Mm-hmm. But again, I'm watching it as a kid to watching it now. Again, I've never been as, I guess... I'm not emotionally moved in any way. I'm not like it's got great music. It's got all this other things, but like emotionally, I'm not moved at all. It doesn't like, wow me in any way outside of it's really cool. Like it's fucking sweet. Like Michael's a sweet character as the Shape. He's ominous as type, but like I said, it doesn't do anything for me. Like The Whale, I'll use for an example. I think that's a great movie.
Yeah.
That movie made me feel something.
With Brendan Fraser?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
It made me feel something. So there's things like that.
Halloween doesn't make you feel anything?
It's cool. Like I think that's cool as fuck, but like the Harry Potter movies, I would never rate them anything more than probably a 7. Even I really like those movies, but they don't wow me or move me emotionally in any way. I like them because I like Harry Potter.
But they're kids' movies. They're fantasy films.
They are, but I mean, still, like...
Well, I get it.
I mean, that's why I can't rate any of them a 10, even though I've watched probably all of them 100 freaking times.
Interesting. So you wouldn't rate any of them?
I wouldn't rate any of them over probably a 7 and 7.5. Any of them.
This is going to be an interesting show from this point on. Not in a bad way. I think it's interesting. I like when everyone has their own rating scale. Like, because I've gotten into the argument before, like, why do you use the 1 out of 10 scale versus the 1 out of 5? And I just personally think it gives me more room to gauge something. So...
Absolutely. 1 out of 5, I feel like, is too constricting. And it's so close to making a movie a bad movie, even if you don't think it is. Like, if you rate something a 6.5, but you like it, in that scale, what would you rate it in a 5 scale? Like a 3.5, which makes it sound shitty.
Exactly. That's exactly the point that I've made with that before. That's fucking hilarious. But yeah, for me, Halloween 78, as tradition allows...
10 out of 10. I guess.
No, it's cool that you rated 6.
No,
it makes sense. Yeah, it's not for everybody. It's not the same thing.
If in the horror genre alone, it's an 8. I think it's a great movie in that aspect.
It's so funny to me.
I think Michael's super cool, but a lot of those movies just, they're good though. I like watching them for fun. They're good horror movies, like even cheesy B horror movies I love, like C ones when Netflix used to be good and they had all these crazy weird horror movies. I like some of them.
What about like Troll 2?
You look like the trolls do from Troll 2.
That might be the second time that reference has come up already, actually.
Probably.
But I wouldn't be surprised.
I haven't seen it in a long time. Long time. Probably back when it was on
Goofy.
I really liked one called it's called Hansel and Gretel Get High.
I saw a copy of that when I was in SAC.
Tries to smoke them. It's fucking it's a weird ass movie.
God damn it.
Go Netflix back in the day. Shout out to them, yo.
Gotta take those chances.
Yep. But I like that movie, but I would never rate it anything better than like a 3. Even on a horror movie scale, it'd be like a 3.
But would you recommend it while high?
Fuck yes. Oh, dude, I'd recommend it if you were maybe tripping.
So if you're getting blazed out there, Hansel and Gretel Get High.
Watch it. Be ready. All right.
Well, with the tremendous success of Halloween, obviously spawned a ton of sequels. And one of those sequels was directed by Rick Rosenthal and came out in 1991.
Halloween 2.
So, 1981.
Did I say 91?
Yes, but that's okay.
It happens.
It's all right. There's so many of these that go from the 70s to the
I have it written
2000s.
down right here, so I must have just subconsciously said 91.
It's all right. We're just two regular Joes.
Well, it doesn't help that we smoke a fat blunt before every goddamn episode.
I don't know what you're saying.
I do.
By the Lord.
It was a blunt. blunt force object, much like the things that Michael Myers uses to murder people in Halloween too.
You don't got to be so blunt about it. You don't got to be so blunt about it.
Blunted. I don't know.
So you told me some interesting facts about this movie, that John Carpenter didn't want to do it because his idea for the Halloween series was kind of a different style of movie every time, with different characters and different villains.
Mm-hmm. He fucking hates this movie. Have you seen any of the things he says about it?
No, he hates it?
Yeah, because he actually directed most of the movie.
So why does it go to Rick?
Because he had to go off and start filming, I think it was, 81? Probably The Thing. He was busy with something else. Yeah, eventually the production was taking too long or whatever fucking reason, and he left, and then Rick Rosenthal fucking stepped in and was like, well, I gotta, shoot the parts that John hadn't shot and kind of make this movie work. And Carpenter just notoriously shit talks the fuck out of this movie. I can't remember. There's a quote. I probably should look it up. I sent it to my brother the other day, but he just flames the fuck out of it. Pretty recently, he's talked some shit too. Like, he just tweets about how shitty it is. But I like it. I think it's good.
I think it is a perfect follow-up to 2, personally.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Like, I don't know why people don't like it, because when I watch it, the movie picks up where the first one leaves off perfectly.
Yeah. Oh, I know why.
Similarities between this and the newer trilogy. Mm-hmm. There's a lot. But again, I think it fits perfectly, and I think the stakes of the movie kind of grow a little bit bigger, but not too big for its britches. Like, the movie's very small encased, and it gets just a tiny bit bigger, and we see all the consequence of what happened through Michael's first run of the, destroying the town. You see the mass hysteria with the cops. We talked about that kid getting hit by the car and blown up by the van. Mm-hmm. Loomis almost shot his ass. Like, people are going a little crazy. So I really liked it. When I watched it, I've seen it before, but I've only seen it a few times, but I've known a lot of people hate it.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, because I probably give it almost the same rating as 1, because I liked it.
Yeah.
Like, I liked watching them both in sequence.
It does a great job of carrying the atmosphere of the first movie over and like staying fairly consistent with the story that the first one laid out, which I love about it.
And I don't know how so this movie was 3 years after the first one?
79, 80, 81, yeah. Mm-hmm.
3 years.
Yeah.
Geez, they all look the same.
Yeah.
They look so much the same for 3 years. Like, when I watched it, I feel like it was like
the next day.
They would have like done like a back-to-back recording like they do sometimes. But now that you say that John Carpenter did direct quite a bit of the movie, it makes sense, because the movie feels this a lot like the first one and how it's shot and everything.
Yeah.
And
but did you notice the one thing that is different and wrong? The mask. It wasn't the exact same mask. The other one had like rotted out in the 3 years between filming, so they had to kind of try to like replicate it. They do a pretty good job.
I didn't notice.
They do the best fucking job of any of the sequels. But yeah, like I had read that the first mask, they'd had like 3 of them, and they used the shit out of them, so they got really worn, but there was like a really decent one or something like that, and by the time they went to start shooting, it was pretty shit. So they like patched it up and did the best they could, and it doesn't really look that different, but if you look, it is a little bit different. Like, the hair is a little bit different. It's a little bit more slick back than it was in the original. Just weird little nuances about it. But that's one point of contention for people about it. And the second one, because you're like, why do people hate it, is the whole Laurie Strode is Michael's sister. It's only introduced in part 2, and it's hangs everybody up about it. Yeah.
I feel that just gives more of a reason of what's happening.
It does.
Because
it does.
I mean, unless you like the random killing, but
that's what makes it scary, is that he's picking you at random, not that he has a vendetta or an intention or whatever it is that drives him to kill. It's like, if he's only going after Lori, all I really got to do is stay the fuck out of his way, right? But if he'll kill at random, I better get the fuck out of Dodge. Like, it takes away the...
But, I mean, in reality, though, he still kills at random. He doesn't need to kill all the people he does in that hospital. He doesn't need to go into the boiler room and fuck them up like he does. Titties.
Yeah, but he's looking for Lori.
Yeah,
he's
but
just
he knows
killing
where she
because
is.
he's on the way. Like,
yeah, but he follows them there. He takes detours to kill motherfuckers.
And everyone else in Haddonfield is safe because Lori's just in that hospital. That's the point I'm making, you know?
But it's true, but the
he's
people
only
in the
after
hospital
her.
don't know.
No, yeah, they're fucked.
And like I said, he takes detours in every movie on his way to murder whoever and kills a bunch of people.
I just thought of a random crazy question to ask you.
Yeah.
But did the rack, or the tits, I should say, in part 2 disappoint you? Because I hope not.
No. You mean?
The nurse? Whew. Smoking.
Yum. That's my yum yum.
No,
we're not creeps. We're just fucking around.
Look.
Horror movies,
they're titties.
They have tits in them. That's
they're
just
titties.
the way shit is.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well,
they put the titties in there and made them good. I didn't.
It's like they're putting the movie to bring everybody into the mix. You know, you're like, oh, there's going to be a little titty in the movie.
There's going to be a little tit in there. You got to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that was
our show is for adults. God damn it, adults.
Maybe if you're interested in this stuff and you're young and you listen to rap, this ain't worse than rap.
Oh, absolutely.
Shout out to Eminem Drips.
It's so funny too, because like there will be people that will get uppity that we're saying this shit. Maybe, I don't know, maybe not, but that people do talk like that, and then they'll turn around and be like, they're in their car, fucking just singing exactly along to Tupac and shit, or like. Actually, it always reminds me of that thing in Office Space where the dude is like fucking rapping along with the gangster rap, but as soon as the guy walks by, he fucking rolls up his window. You remember that?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of.
No, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's ridiculous,
which also this movie has the greatest quote in all the Halloween movies to me, outside of Busta Rhymes.
Which one's that?
The one we played at the beginning.
Oh yeah,
you don't know what death is.
The first one though, is that a recap? Is it in both?
Maybe it is at the end of the first one. I thought it was at the beginning of the second one. It's in the beginning of the second one.
Okay, hell yeah,
yeah. Because
perfect.
He was chasing after Michael.
Right. Oh yeah, it's later.
Yeah, it's later.
Yeah,
but
right.
Anyways, I think it was, as soon as I fucking heard it, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Now I've been sending people that meme. I love it. But Busta Rhymes has a great one later on. I fucking love it. He's the only good thing really I like about fucking Resurrection.
Busta Rhymes?
Hell yeah.
Well, yeah, no. I mean, that movie is so goddamn shitty that, yeah.
At the end,
he's the shining star.
At the end, he's like, Happy Halloween, motherfucker.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah. Either way, though, that is a great Loomis fucking quote right there.
What is your take on the whole sister thing besides driving the story? Like, do you think it's believable? Because I know we don't know much about the Myers family in the first movie because we just see them get out of the car and Michael's got the knife in his hand. But how do you feel about that? Because it's kind of a retcon. It's the thing we bitch about movies doing nowadays. And it's like the early peppering of that in there. Like, well, we're going to retcon this. Like, we have to explain why he's still after Lori for the sequel. It's kind of shoehorned in, though. Like,
I mean, I feel like it was left ambiguous enough in the first one that you could add that in there without really messing with anything. Just because that's what
Yeah.
You saw, but somebody in the later movies says that they were babysitting them before it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And she was the babysitter and Lori was there and Michael was.
Yeah.
It's the old lady in number 4, 5?
Like, oh yeah,
5. It's 5 because she goes upstairs and she. Anyways, they kind of. I mean, obviously, those later ones are trying to make sure they're connecting everything to their fucking Thorn cult. But anyways, I think the way they did the first one without telling you too much about Michael left it ambiguous enough that you can insert things like this without having to retcon too much. Because, I mean, what we do know is that on Halloween, the parents of Haddonsfield go to a Halloween party, which is why almost everybody's babysitting all the time.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a theme throughout the fucking movies. You know,
he stalks babysitters.
Exactly. Yeah. So we know that even if Lori was in the first one, let's say, we wouldn't have seen her when the parents got out of the car because they were coming back from whatever they were doing. Maybe. But again, it's left to me ambiguous enough that it doesn't bother me. They added that in there. And it does help propel the story for a reason. I mean, they could have just gone with because he didn't kill her, because she fucked him up. But why doesn't he go after Loomis? So I think it kind of propels it in a good way.
He goes after Loomis when Loomis gets in his way, but yeah, he never, for whatever reason, he never tries to end him, which is weird.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
he does a couple times.
He does, but like it doesn't seem.
He never stabs him.
Yeah, the same. He stabs him in number 2. He stabs him with the scalpel when he walks through the door.
That's right. Yeah. He does.
And then we think he's done for a minute.
The other one, he throws him in a door, then slashes him and pushes him down the stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the way how he died in Rob Zombies in the first one.
Michael?
No. Dr. Loomis.
Loomis doesn't die in the first one. He's in part 2.
Well, you think he does.
Oh, the eye thing.
Yeah.
The crushing of the eye thing. Yeah. That is pretty brutal.
It's fucking sick. And
I was like, yeah.
Yeah, you think he dies in that one, but that's right. He does live into the second one looking all fucking crazy.
He's so fucking lame in part 2. God damn it, dude. Like, I love Malcolm McDowell, and I didn't even mind him as Loomis in the first movie, but he's like insufferable in part 2. Dude, just fucking hate him. But I also fucking hate that movie. But if you want to hear me talk about that, you'll have to tune in a couple of weeks and listen to Rob Zombie. Or should I say
Rob Zombie. Ooh, bitch.
But yeah, I mean, I like Halloween too. I think it's fucking a really great slasher. It checks all the boxes because at this point in 81, there is boxes to check for a slasher film. Even though it's only 3 short years later, like there's a bunch of stuff that came out rapid fire because of Halloween being so successful. I mean, I have a bunch of those movies downstairs too, and we'll probably cover some of them. But like Arrow's been putting them out lately, which is pretty badass. So you can catch all those sleeper slashers. That's a good word. Sleeper slasher.
I think that's a great word.
Yeah.
So let me just ask you this.
Let me just answer you this.
Do you like the second one as much as the first one? And the first time you watched it, did you like it?
Yeah, I was just a little kid. By the time I watched all of these movies, it would probably have to be around 95, because looking at how they all came out, I was renting them on VHS and I was anticipating the release of H2O. I remember seeing the trailers and being like, fuck yeah, a new Halloween is coming out. So when I saw Halloween 2, there were 6 of these movies to watch already. And I already knew like Michael is an iconic slasher. I'm into it. I'm going to want to see all 6 of them. And I was just young and impressionable with horror movies. So when I grabbed them, I'd fucking horror, Halloween 1, Halloween 2, watch them in a row. So at the time, yeah, I absolutely loved it because it flows perfectly into that movie. It just feels like Halloween 1 is like a 2-parter. just being like Kill Bill kind of. It has that feel of it's like, why is it cut into two? Because it feels so naturally as one. So yeah, I loved it. Do I love it as much as the first one? No, because I do gauge it as a sequel still. It is a second film. I'm able to take it back and be like, well, I have to judge the things that it does. Oh, speaking of that, holy shit.
Let's hear it.
I wanted to bring this up when we started talking about Halloween 2, but 100% favorite scene in that movie is where the one nurse goes into the doctor's office and she's trying to get his attention because Laurie is missing and fucking
turns
around and he's got, it's not even just the thing in his eye, but it's how she backs into the shadow and then Michael just fucking appears right behind her, dude. That is so goddamn sick. Like that scene alone for me is top tier Halloween. Like,
now that is a great scene.
I love shit like that, dude. Oh my god, so sick. I also really like the hot tub kill. I think that's a raise the stakes kind of kill.
I was kind of disappointed with it because I think it would have been sweeter if he just boiled them alive.
I mean, he fucked her face up pretty good.
He did. He, like, putting her in there looked really weird. Her flappity skin all over. But I don't know. I just, when he turned it up, I'm like, yeah, burn him up. Burn him up. Burn him up like little frogs.
And the contrast with that, too, is that his hand he's not even phased by it. Yeah, he's just like, whatever. And that's what I love about Michael and all the slashers is that they're just an unstoppable evil. Like, you ain't killing shit. They're killing you, dude.
You can't stop him.
Yeah.
He's unadulterated evil. Sheriff, I shot him 6 times. Fuck yeah.
That's a good impression to be able to pull out of your hat. Like,
hell yeah.
You're at a party and you just walk into the room and you're like, I shot him 6 times. And they're like, fuck, dude, this is a fucking bar mitzvah. What are you doing here?
This is my kid's first birthday.
Yeah. Why are you shooting people here, bitch? What I would rate it, though...
Yes, let's hear this.
It's probably about an 8.
Oh,
I really like it. It's good. It's a really good follow-up. I don't think that's that unpopular. I think a lot of people like it. I think your brother really likes it, if I remember correctly. Like, I don't know if he loves it as much as the first, but I don't know anyone really that dislikes that movie per se. I might even know 1 or 2 people that think it's better than the first, but...
How do you like the ending?
With the explosion?
Yeah. Like how Loomis, I mean, as we would know until number 4, how Loomis sacrifices himself.
I think if we had left it at part 2, it would have been such a sick ending because Loomis sacrifices himself to take out Michael. And if Michael had just stayed dead, that would have some pretty serious weight to it and make Loomis just a goddamn hero. I mean, he's a hero anyway.
He's a badass.
But yeah, for like an old guy running around being a fucking psycho. I, as a sequel, think it's kind of a shitty ending because it's retconned. So it's like, it doesn't have the same pointless effect. Yeah. It's like, again, it's like because of the internet, things can't be quite gauged the same because it made me think about movies differently. So, because at the time I loved it. It was fucking so sick to me. But if I have to step back and get all deep and think about this shit the way we do now, it's kind of a bad ending because it's weak and like Loomis doesn't die, Michael doesn't die. There's no real finality to it. It's just they'll be back in the next installment. You know?
Next time on Halloween.
Yeah, it
Loomis
cheapens it.
Survives. Michael is on the run. What will the Dragon Ball Z characters do? Oh,
sorry. What will they do next time on Dragon Halloween?
I don't know if I'd watch Dragon Halloween. I think I might have to pass that.
It'd be like one of those parodies like The Simpsons did of it. Or, well, they did more Friday the 13th.
Well, let me hear... Well, before you give me your 2 ratings, Is there any scene of great significance to you in this movie? Like, you think this stands out as like a interesting sequel plot point, or like...
I really like, I mean, it's probably it's probably not like anybody's favorite scene, but I like the sequence with Tommy, right? Mm-hmm. Is that his name? Tommy, or no, Tommy's the one she babysits.
Tommy Jarvis, yeah.
The paramedic that likes her, that she had a crush on in the first movie, and her friend called and told him that.
Oh,
told
yeah,
him that,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah,
I can't remember his name.
Me either.
But he goes into the room and he finds the nurse, you know, with her blood out all over the floor, slips, smacks his head. And then later on, when Laurie's hiding in the car away from Michael, he gets in, doesn't even know Laurie's in there, and he's fucked up because obviously he probably has a concussion, you know, from hitting his head. And he's just sitting there trying to start the car, and he tells her it's gonna be okay, and then
we're gonna get out of here.
He passes the fuck out.
Yeah,
I like that whole sequence scene. Like,
it's good.
I just liked it. It's not something that has any crazy significance, and it wasn't great cinematography or anything like that. But I just liked that scene.
No, it's good. It's good. It's a nice horror moment. Like, another good thing is directly after that, when Michael finally does get through the barricade and back into the hospital, and that cop is still doubting Loomis, and Loomis had to take him at gunpoint or whatever. Not that he was doubting him, but he had orders or whatever.
He had orders because he was supposed to go back to the hospital.
Yeah. But Michael goes down, and Loomis is like, get away from him. And then he gets fucking just throat slashed right there. I always liked that too. And here's an interesting little fact. For those of you who are wrestling fans, that little slow get up that Michael Myers always does after he's been down for a few minutes, what they refer to in the Halloween universe as Michael Myers recharging, that little slow get up and return to the hunt, so to speak, that's where Undertaker got the influence for his slow get up after he'd get he'd get knocked down, and then he would look up at, lean up and look at you with that menacing look, and then roll his eyes back and stand up and start beating your ass. So anyway, interesting little tidbit for you wrestling fans out there who might be
Undertaker
fans.
That's actually sick to know.
It's hella sick. And then Kane ends up doing it too later on. It's awesome. All right, so hit me with it. Your 2 ratings.
First off, I want to give a shout out to this movie for not being a piece of shit sequel.
Oh, well, yeah, that's good.
I mean, sequels, especially I feel like for horror movies, are really, really hit and miss, and a lot of times miss.
Cash grabs.
Yeah, exactly. And this one was a cash grab for sure, because they forced Carpenter to do it, but it came out really good to me. So I would rate it pretty much the same as the first one for me, probably about a 6 in real life movies, and for horror, probably about an 8. Because I think if I ever when I watch them again, I'll probably watch them back to back as a whole movie kind of thing.
Interesting.
Because I like them, and I think like when you watch the first one, you probably should watch the second one, because they're very much cohesive movies going from one to the other.
Oh, absolutely.
And I like that. And the fact that it still really feels like the first one. Like sometimes with sequels, even if they're right after, placed right after, they don't have the same atmosphere, the same feel.
Right.
So I really like that it kept that.
Oh, yeah. It's masterful.
It's good.
And I think a lot of it has to do with Carpenter directing most of it.
See, that's, again, I didn't know that. I did not know that. And I think, yeah, that made a difference, because it's impressive. I was like, man, another director did this. He must have really been inspired by Carpenter and like really understood the film.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of people I've heard this movie get a lot of hate, but for me, yeah, I think it was good. Even if Carpenter doesn't like it, he can suck it.
Oh yeah, just because he doesn't like it doesn't mean shit. Like, okay, I understand you not liking it, and Carpenter's just kind of an infamous dickhead when it comes to shit like that, but like, that's fine if you don't, as the filmmaker, like it, but you're making a piece of art, and it's undoubtedly going to have its fans. Like, if it reaches the masses the way these movies do, that's why I love horror films and slashers, because They have their fan base, their dedicated fan base, and I'm one of those people. I will excuse every ounce of absolute garbage for all of these movies because I love seeing slasher sequels, and then I'll turn around and bitch about Hollywood being unoriginal and making remakes and sequels. That's the American way, damn it.
'Cause I'm proud to be an American
watching horror movies.
Yep. I mean, no, but on serious levels, like I'm obviously able to step back and say, like, look, these movies, as you would say, suck, and most of them do. A bunch of them do, but I do think 1 and 2 are very good, and I do like part 3 for different reasons. Speaking of part 3, while we're on the subject, we will be doing that episode during the more recent H4O timeline, as it's referred to, because it's 40 years later.
Yeah, 40.
The 2018 Kills Ends timeline. We'll throw that one in at the end of that episode for part 2, because we have a lot to talk about, frankly, and we got to divide them up, evenly the best we can. So, see part 2 for Halloween 3, if that makes any goddamn sense. But
yeah, right.
So moving on from that, we are going to go into our second ever mid-roll break. I won't announce them anymore after this time. We'll just be like, time for a break. But it is notable and a new feature that I mentioned in all the socials earlier, and we're going to be rolling with it. So gives you a break, gives us a break. That's why it's called a motherfucking Brizik.
Mid-roll break.
So we'll be back after this little bit of music and hit you with the return of Michael Myers.
The return.
The return of that motherfucker. And welcome back, everyone, from that mid-roll break.
Welcome back.
Dr. Loomis let us in with some of his
great lines.
Great lines from Halloween 4.
The return of Michael Myers.
The return of Michael Myers. That motherfucker.
That motherfucker.
This one came out in 1988, and that will lead us to
Halloween 4. The return of Michael Myers.
The return of Michael Myers.
The return.
It's funny because we opted out of talking about part 3 just to, expedite the process in certain areas. But without that movie, we may not even have this movie. Or we may, but just in some form of another. But because Halloween 3 Season of the Witch was so poorly received, everyone wanted Michael Myers back. So that's why they opted for that clever title of The Return of Michael Myers. It's like a double thing, because he returns in his franchise and he also returns to Haddonfield.
His favorite place.
And now he's in pursuit, having murdered what we're supposed to believe is Laurie Strode at the beginning of this movie.
I'm so dumb I didn't even catch that. I thought he was just murdering some bitch because it wasn't Laurie Strode.
That's what he does.
It wasn't her. It wasn't Jamie Lee Curtis.
It's weird. It's weird that they do it, but they couldn't get her back, so they were like, fuck it, we'll axe her character, and now we'll have Michael pursue her daughter all these years down the line. And that's the plot of this motherfucker. What do you think of this one?
Welcome return from Tim Atkins in Season of the Witch. So I'll say that. But
interesting.
Overall,
I like that movie, for the record.
I might need to watch it again, maybe, but no.
See, that's why I told you to watch it directly after 2, so you could get fucked like the rest of us at the time, and then be like, what am I doing?
Yeah, that was definitely a bad misdirect, but I think I like the return of number 4, or the return of Michael Myers, and I like the return of Loomis, except their prosthetics they did to Loomis's face changes the entire movie. The first time you see him, it looks like he's got this giant crater in the face, and by the end of the movie, it's marks. Pretty like okay, like that dude's been putting some vitamin E oil on it the whole movie. I don't know.
Donald Pleasance probably like busted into the director's room, and he's like, I won't wear it anymore.
6 times. I've worn it 6 times.
Yeah. I mean, that's interesting. It is the return of Dr. Loomis as well, and I think that's good because this one, to me, this is the last really good one in the franchise until 2018. Only because I think this director, I didn't look up his name, but this director does a really good job of returning the franchise to the form after the season of the witch failure. You know, like it's been some time since we saw the original. Everyone wants it. The expectations are high, and I think he is able to catch a lot of the same vibe.
What's the time period between 3 and 4?
Oh shit, I don't know. It's like, you mean like the year when they came out?
Yeah, when they came out.
So it's a 6-year gap.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, I agree with you on that. I think 4 is the last good one until the 2018.
I should have said H2O, not to cut you off, because I do like that movie, but
H2O.
I know you said you don't like it.
Yep.
Dwight H. Little, that guy, he does a good job. I don't know who the fuck he is. I just thought I at least owed it to him to name him as the director.
He might be Stuart Little's father, Mr. Little. Anyways, he does a good job. I do like the movie. I like the characters. Rachel, Jamie, interesting take.
I love Jamie Lloyd. The cool thing about her is that she is in those 2 movies, and then when she's grown up, she plays a different character in the Rob Zombie Halloweens. That little girl is Laurie Strode's best friend in the remakes.
Wow, I didn't know
the same
that.
Actress, yeah, Jamie Lloyd.
That's
underrated.
Cool. That's cool.
Yeah,
that's hella cool.
It's sick because she's part of 2 different timelines.
Yeah,
when you're talking about the timeline thing, which is like
cool.
Interesting.
That's how they connect.
That's what people want because everyone's aching for a new Michael Myers movie after Halloween ends. Yeah, because that's why they keep making these fucking movies, because we're all sick and we all just want to see Michael Myers fucking up teenagers for no goddamn reason other than he's just a dick, which is wild. It's wild what we've built as a culture in film for shit like that. Like, obviously he's expanded his horizons and he'll kill any age now, but
that blunt expanded my horizons. I'm high as a kite right now.
Yeah, second blunt of the night, the return of the blunt.
The return of the blunt. One for the first 3, one for the second 3. No, I do like it. Rachel I almost like her more than Laurie. I don't know why. I did like her a lot. I was actually kind of upset that she died in number 5. Yeah. No, number 5. Yeah, number 5. Yeah. I thought she was gonna make it through. I don't know why. I hoped. I liked her a lot.
Yeah,
I don't know. She's
a good character. I mean, we always mention the final girl thing, and I think she's a good one. She's a shout out one. Like, you gotta. I don't know why I use the word shout out. Like, this isn't fucking like 2002, but I always do it
because you gotta shout out.
Just set in ways, but yeah. I do like her. I don't know if I like her more than Laurie, but Laurie is just like the quintessential. She's the final girl because she is finaled Michael so many times.
Whoa.
She's not the best.
Okay, because I was about to say, I thought you...
Sydney is the best.
Sydney, I thought Sydney Prescott was your girl.
But the quintessential, the one that everyone bases the final girl on, I think, is Laurie Strode, because she came first and she does battle it out with Michael through the movie, and survive and go through some shit, which is also great in the Rob Zombie one because Laurie goes through some fucking hell in that movie, dude. She just gets fucked up the whole time. Yeah, man, it's crazy.
It's good. Sucks how the second one just crashed and burned.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
I mean, as we see, just because you start off hot doesn't mean your next two are good.
I mean, Rob Zombie has gone on the record to say, though, like, they didn't let him make the movie he wanted to make. So, like...
Why does that happen? If you do good on one movie, why do they need to... I mean, honestly, when we look at Joker 2, sometimes letting them take the reins all the way doesn't always hit. But imagine if they did let him make the movie he wanted to. What do you think it would have been like?
It's a tough call.
Ponder on. Something to ponder on for our episode on Rob Zombie.
I just know studios do that because they want maximum return, and they have a set of guidelines when they do sequels, and you have to check those boxes as a director. And if you want to go outside the box most of the time, they start, shooting your ideas down and restricting it. So a lot of times the directors will lash out and do what he's asked, but in just a ridiculous way, or a way that they didn't want, but it still gives them what they want. Yeah. And it's like, it's funny dynamic, and it's talked about a lot. Rob Zombie and Sam Raimi and maybe even Todd Phillips with Joker. I don't know. He came out and said, no, that wasn't the thing. But...
No, because he refused to talk to anybody except from WB. He would have talked to the guy from Guardians. I'm spacing his name right now.
Guardians.
The director from Guardians of the Galaxy.
I don't know.
Why are you spacing?
You got me too high.
Now?
That's why.
Yeah. Anyways, the guy who runs DC now, he wouldn't talk with him. Apparently.
Oh, James Gunn.
James Gunn. Yeah. Gosh.
Sorry.
Who are we? Anyways, James Gunn.
We are
talk to him.
Baked talking about Halloween and everything that it entails.
But yeah, I guess. But this one came out good for how much I didn't like 3. Okay, so let's put this into perspective first. For 3, it's not bad. I guess it's just why.
It's not Halloween.
No.
So
it's just a horror movie on Halloween, not a Halloween movie. But so I guess in that, if you take that aspect away and just watch it as a horror movie, it's not really that bad. It's pretty comical or it's pretty. I'm just saying it's pretty okay for its time, I guess. Like standard.
So I have a headcanon theory that I always apply to the movie.
Okay, let's.
And I want to save it for that episode, but I almost can't. I have to say why I think it, at least in my mind, ties in, or at least how they should have, because the whole implication is that Shamrock Factory is making these masks that turn kids evil and make them do fucked up shit, right? So why they should have just had in one of the Halloween movies, we see that mask inside Michael's mask. Yeah, the stamp inside the mask, like the Shamrock logo, because then, even though it might be a haphazard and completely ridiculous way to tie it in, it would still be kind of cool in just a weird way, But they already went the wild way with this fucking Cult of Thorn thing, which we haven't even mentioned yet, but this is the first movie in what they refer to as the Cult of Thorn trilogy, where they introduce the cult aspect. And it's like, if they're doing that, yeah,
I agree. Which we do have to introduce it.
Halloween 4, the Thorn trilogy.
Hell yeah. Start of it anyway. For some stupid ass reason, there's fucking 3 parts to it.
It's just crazy how little it connects to anything until you pointed it out. I was like, why is this even considered it?
Yeah.
Like,
it's just that one thing, like I told you, like the
continuing the character, Jamie Lloyd. But yeah.
That chalkboard scene, that's it.
That makes sense.
Yeah. There's that.
Out. And then the Boots.
Mr. Boots, as you called him. Yeah.
Mr. Boots.
Yeah. I mean, I think musically it tries to do what the first one did, like bring that ominous feeling with Michael every time. But the mask, though, The mask is trash. Like it just does not look good to me. It's the start of the masks being like, what the fuck?
Honestly, I don't think I paid that much attention to the masks. Like, I saw them, and in that one, he gets a new one, like off the shelf.
Mm-hmm. Google it live. First ever deep dive. Google it live and just look at that mask for a second.
All right. Hold on.
We'll do this for each of these 3 movies because actually, from this point on, we'll just have to do it because the studio has a hell of a time replicating the proper Michael Myers mask. Because I don't know if you know, but you probably do. That mask is just, the original one is just a William Shatner mask turned inside out. That's it.
That's fucking sweet.
Yeah.
Are you talking about this one? Oh, yeah. It kind of looks like he doesn't have a chin.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Just okay. What the fuck? Like, it's just, I don't know. The cover of the movie makes it look close to the original. And then as you're watching the movie, you're like, what the hell is this shit?
What kind of mask is this?
It's a literal, just like, what? Right in front of your eyes. Like, are you kidding me?
I guess I didn't pay that much attention to the mask. I saw him wearing it, and I'm like, yep, that's it. Can't mistake it.
Wait till you deep dive live Google the one from number 5 if you didn't notice that change.
Well, let's see that then. But, so, what are your favorite parts about 4? Do you even like 4? I know you said it's one of the last ones you think are good, but that doesn't mean you liked it.
I actually do like it. I give it like... Actually, I don't know. I'll save the rating for the end. The things I do like about it, though, are the use of Michael in the shadows, again, and the music, and just all the things that it kind of does its own spin on the originals. I think that's cool. Or on the original one, anyway. Some kind of aspects of 2, maybe. But I do like 4. I think the introduction of Jamie Lloyd is interesting, and it introduces the idea that later appears in Halloween Ends with fucking Corey Cunningham. And that mask looks like fucking like Marilyn Manson or something, you know?
It kind of does.
Oh, hilarious.
That's gross.
But yeah, so Jamie Lloyd, she plays the little girl that's Laurie's daughter.
Yeah.
And it introduces the evil thing like I'm talking about that we see Corey maybe have happened to him in Ends. And that's the only thing about the Gordon Green trilogy that is cool, is it does callbacks to all this shit, and that's a major one.
Yeah, and it's one of the things I thought was stupid, at least in the Ends. I hate Corey. I hate that guy. His character, his face,
he's
his
terrible.
Stupid look, how he was able to beat the shit out of Michael and take his mask. Anyways.
And how clever they thought they are with the Corey Cunningham. Well, it's the same 2 initials, just like Michael Myers. Like,
CC.
Motherfuckers, dude.
I'm going to CC you. But anyways.
We'll save that bitchin' for that, because it's coming. A couple weeks.
It's a spanking. Anyways, 4 is good. I like 4. I like I said, I really like Rachel. I like Loomis in this one. I don't care much for their survival. Like, I like them in there, but the whole survival thing was kind of cheap because they blew the F up.
Mm-hmm. This is the one where at the end, the townspeople get together and they just blow him to shit, right?
Yeah. And he falls into the well. They like shotgun him to freaking death. Like, dude's just... And they're
it's
just
funny.
Blasting.
I wonder how Loomis felt about that. He's like... They one-upped me. I shot him 6 times. They blasted him 4 billion times.
That's also when they also do a callback, I feel like, in Kills, because the town kind of gets together and takes it on their own and kills somebody who's not Michael.
Yeah.
Because they're so, pent up by fear and anger.
Which again is called back to in Gordon Green's trilogy with Halloween Kills, when he kills like the whole fucking mob of people that are rushing him and shit.
Yeah.
Which is also sick, though, I want to add, because that to me is the first moment that we as the viewers are kind of getting a call back to the classic Universal monsters, which our set of them is like Michael, Jason, Freddy, Chucky, but they were the Mummy, Frankenstein, Dracula, Wolfman. And in Frankenstein, the mob mentality rushes the place where he's living or he's staying, and they try to kill him. So I think that's a nice callback in this movie, and ends to both that and each other, which is just, I don't know, all the little connections are cool. Like, it's one of the things I admire about franchise movies like this, because even though they want to rewrite their own histories all the time and do their own thing, they do still have admiration and acknowledge what came before or after. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, nope, that's cool. Loomis, I thought, was actually, for a second, I thought he was going to be part of the cult.
No way, dude.
Yeah,
Loomis is pure.
Yeah, but in 4, he starts talking crazy, and he grabs Jamie Lloyd, and he's like, I have her, Michael. Mm-hmm. I have her. And I'm like, because before that, he was just talking nutty. He's like, I know, Michael. I know what will stop this. Blah, blah, blah. And then he almost, gets the thing out of Michael's hand. And that's when he slices him and throws him down the stairs.
I always just took that as him trying to be cunning and like pretend so Michael thought he was aligned with the cult so he could gain the upper hand. Because Loomis is always doing shit like that, or like trying to fool Michael.
It might be, but the way he was rambling to himself, like in the house for a little while, I was like, dude, he's finally lost it.
This is the man that shouts, I shot him 6 times.
He is a 6-timer. That is true. But anyways, I liked it. And the way, though, that he has a stroke at the end when he's beating Michael with the fucking 2x4, and he's just hitting him, and then he has a stroke and falls on him, and you think he dies.
Just gives way.
Yeah. Again, you think he dies, and he shows up in the effing next one. You just can't.
That's what he does, man.
They talk about Michael being unkillable. Dr. Loomis apparently is, even in old age, that dude does not die.
I mean, that's what's cool about the Halloween franchise, though. Like, most of them don't have a reoccurring character that's in that many of them that's on the pursuit to kill, the villain or whatever. Like, most of the time they die pretty quickly and then it's on to the next person. But Loomis is like, no, I'm fucking here for the long haul, which is crazy because Donald Pleasance was like
old,
but also like a really prestigious director for the stage at the time and had done a shitload of movies. So it's weird that he was like, fuck it, I'll do goddamn every sequel you ask me to do until I can't do them anymore.
6 movies! I tried to do 6 movies! Wait, he did
5.
5, yeah.
Because he's not in Season of the Witch. But I guess if you count the flashback scenes in the Gordon Green movies, he's in like 7 of them, because I think that happens twice. They show him at least twice.
7 times! I'm in the movie 7 times, Sheriff! I love it.
I like it, though, and if I had to rate this one, which I do, because that's what we do, probably about an 8 out of 10. I really like it. It's good. I think, like I said, it's the last good one.
That's a really high rating for this movie.
It's sometimes when I'm in the mood to watch a Halloween movie, I will go right to 4. Just depends on my mood. But I'll do that from time to time. I've been a big fan for a long time. Like, I don't know. There's just a certain vibe to it. I think it captures Halloween really well. Like, not the vibe of the franchise, but like the time period, like that holiday. I don't know. It's one of them for sure.
I like it for sure, though. It's probably, from a normal rating, 5.5. For a movie rating, for a horror movie rating, probably 7.
Rex's double ratings.
I got a double rater. And what can I say?
No, yeah, it's interesting. I never change.
Wait till we get to any cartoon movies. You'll hear my double rating then.
What cartoon movies would we do? That's an interesting thing. I wish we had a bigger fan base so we can be like, you guys choose the first one. Talk about what random cartoon, and then we just have to do the one they say.
Yeah, like, that is a tough one. What would we do cartoon-wise? That's like, what trilogies of cartoons are there?
Michael Myers, the animated series.
Hell yeah, that's
I
sick.
wish that'd be sick, but no. Oh man, I don't know. Honestly, honest answer, I think it would have to be, because we're both big Batman fans, Batman the animated series.
Yes, but
Very
that one,
prestigious.
that's unfair. That's just a praise video.
I think it deserves it though.
It does.
It's so fucking good.
Oh man, it is good.
Which was birthed by Mr. Tim Burton in a lot of ways, because they draw so much inspiration from those movies, the first two.
Yep.
Fucking love that show. But that's a whole another episode.
I also really like Beyond. Beyond was, I think, was sweet.
It was awesome. Yeah, that is solid.
Freaking sweet.
I like it. And just so we can tie it into Halloween, Scarecrow rules.
Yes.
I fucking love that guy.
Arkham Asylum Scarecrow is sick.
Hell yeah. He reminds me so much of Psycho Mantis from Metal Gear Solid.
That's tight.
I fucking love it. But
Psycho Mantis.
Yeah, so I don't know. Halloween 4 overall, I think, is pretty fucking good.
It is good. I like
it. And if you haven't seen it, if you haven't seen any of these movies, that's crazy. But watch them; they're cool. I probably won't say that too many more times during these episodes, so I had to say it now.
Dun, dun, dun.
Just watch 1, 2, and 4, and then maybe check out the Gordon Green shit, but not ends. Skip it.
End it before
Just
it
fucking
ends.
skip it. Yeah.
End it before it ends.
And I guess that will bring us to what? The next year, 1989. Was that when the...
Number 6.
No, we're on 5.
Oh, 5. Sorry.
Yeah, 5. Halloween 5. But what is the sub name of that one?
Does it even have a sub name?
Maybe it doesn't. Oh, no, it is. I remember now. I'm on cue.
Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers.
I knew that. I don't know why I'm so slow.
The
It's that double
Revenge.
blunted. But yeah, The Revenge. He's back.
You know what? I do want to say one thing about number 4 I didn't like. I
What's
didn't
that?
like the ending part when Michael in the car trying to chase him down.
Hmm.
I thought it was very un-Michael.
It is a little weird and
Like,
out of place.
Just as a quick note for the last one, that's probably my only real gripe with that movie, is I thought that part was stupid. Michael's not someone who chases you down in a car that doesn't have the turn radius to hit somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, wasn't believable for me. But anyways, number 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers.
Continues the pursuit of Jamie. She's a little bit older, but not much. Or no, it's the same night.
No.
Or is it later?
It's
it is later.
a year later.
Because she's having like the
she
flashbacks,
she stabbed her freaking stepmom at the end. She put on the clown suit that Michael wore when he did it.
Mm-hmm.
So she's actually, we're picking up with her in a children's mental hospital, I believe.
That's right.
And she's all hooked up to like a bunch of machines, and anytime Michael's out doing something, she like connects to him and like is screaming.
She's hooked on Michael Myers.
Yeah,
like the rest of us.
She's on that drug.
We just can't get enough, so they're just like, we're gonna keep pumping him out. It doesn't even matter.
It doesn't even matter what it is.
And this is probably the first one that really causes a problem with like future installments and the reason and decisions to reset the timeline and do wild shit. But I don't know. This one definitely sucks. Poor choices all over the place.
Like, I don't understand why Tina from the 4th movie, who was in the movie for 2.5 minutes, just to drop them off, became such a prominent character. Like, she wasn't...
I kind of like that, because like Nightmare on Elm Street does that too. They have a couple carryover characters, and it kind of establishes a little bit of world building in a way. But I don't think she was good enough to be the focus.
Not at all.
For the main.
And
yeah.
I was really, like I said, I was upset when Rachel died. He killed Rachel in the beginning, and I didn't like it. I did not like it.
I mean...
You do get to see her titties, though, in this one, finally. 4th one, they don't.
You got to have stakes, though, right? That's what you want. That's what you like. You love it when characters die at the end. So, like, what's wrong with them dying at the beginning?
I don't know why. I feel like that's such a weird cop-out. I don't like Resurrection for the same reason. Partially.
Resurrection has its flaws, but I like the concept. I just hate the execution. There's fucking so many problems with that movie, but
executed dog shit.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
Real trap shit.
Hell yeah, real trap shit.
But the fifth one, I didn't like the connection thing between Jamie and Michael. I thought that was actually really stupid.
It was pretty dumb.
Really stupid.
But that does, and of course, tie into the Cult of Thorn thing that they're trying to establish here. Like, we can control Michael because that's why he's invincible, because we're controlling this bag of flesh that can kill and not be killed.
Yeah.
With our cult-like powers, and he does our bidding, and I forget how they explain it. It's so fucking stupid. It's like something to do with the stars or whatever. I forget. They explain it in one of them, and it's like,
6, Paul Rudd.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Paul Rudd, of course. Hell yeah, Paul
Danny.
Rudd.
He's Danny, I believe, from
the first movie. Yeah. Which is also cool. That's probably like one of the only cool things about that movie.
Yeah, that movie's
doo-doo stew.
So is 5. And 5 is just,
5 is generic.
They have those cops, the 2 cops, and when they first come on screen, they do like that boing and like that like type of thing.
Bumbling idiots.
Yeah, like because they're too stupid. They are.
Yeah, I hate it.
Yeah, and
it's just really cliche. It's like that movie is the first movie in the franchise where it makes all the characters so annoying that you're like, come on, Michael, just fucking end these guys.
Kill them,
but that's probably intentional, because again, that's what everyone wants, is Michael Myers on a motherfucking bloody rampage, just killing through the city. And I guess, I don't know, those movies don't need stakes because Michael, they're just fodder. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird dynamic, but
I agree.
Do I still watch 5 sometimes? Yep.
I almost watch every time I watch any of the Aliens. I still watch 3.
I feel like you gotta, like, you're watching. That's what the point of the sequels are. It's like, well, even though usually only the original or select sequels are good, like, you just gotta get through them all. Fuck it.
You gotta
do it.
Gotta do it.
Because I mean, there's no other reason to watch 5, 6, or Resurrection, in my opinion. But. And I know probably even H2O for you.
Well, what do you like about 5?
Not much. Probably the Cult of Thorns shit, weirdly enough. Like, it's a dumb idea, but it's really the only interesting addition to the film. And there's theories about, like, director's cuts and producer's cuts for 4 and 5, I think. And they're out there, but I don't think I've ever seen them.
I watched producer's cut of.
Oh, is it in my set that I let you borrow?
No.
Oh, okay.
I rented it so I could watch it on the freaking projector. And Amazon had it as the producer's cut, so I watched 4. So I don't know what.
Was there a lot of black and white scenes in that one, like
No.
flashbacks? Okay, then that might be the producer's cut of 6.
Maybe no, because I watched 6.
Because one of them is
Today.
very cult heavy. If you watch that, it's like it adds a ton
must have
of
been
that
5.
shit. Yeah, it probably is 5 then. But there's there's a superior cut, and it has a bunch more Cult of Thorn.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if it had a bunch more Cult of Thorn, but the freaking shoot, Mr. Boots was in it a ton. You know, he's walking around. You see him everywhere. He's in the background all until the end when he blasts through the police station and takes Jamie and saves freaking Michael.
Fuck Mr. Boots.
Fuck Mr. Boots.
Guy sucks. I don't think that's that unpopular, actually.
I mean, he's just a pair of boots. He's just boots.
The man in boots.
Puss in Boots.
I can tell you what I don't like about the movie, though.
Yo, let's hear it. Let's hear what you love.
It's not good. It's not a good movie. It's very generic, like I said before, but in ways that I didn't think were really possible for the time, because at the time period for this movie, we'd actually gotten some decent Nightmare on Elm Street sequels, and it's like it was really lazy. So, and again, I saw all these years after they came out, but just as a young kid or preteen, I was like, the fuck? I don't know. I do still watch it though, so I can't talk complete shit. It's just it fails to have any of the same atmosphere of the previous 3 good ones. It just feels rushed and everything's out of place, and it's like paint by numbers. Michael needs to kill this person at this point and blah 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 blah. You know, like I don't know. Real generic. Michael Myers by numbers.
Yeah, it must have been 5 because they go up into the attic, I believe it is, and the guy, Mr. Boots, must have been collecting all of Michael's kills because Jamie finds Rachel. Because you don't, for a second, I thought she might be alive because Tina goes to the house after Rachel's killed and doesn't find her.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then for a second, you see her dead, and I'm like, is she gonna wake up? Wake up, Rachel. Hey, get up, sleepyhead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but so it probably was 5 because that was pretty culty. Mr. Boots, pretty culty.
Mm-hmm. The director's cut of it though, like I've watched scenes from it on YouTube. Like I've never seen the whole cut, but I've seen some of those added moments or taken out moments, I should say. But they're crap. They're just crap.
You heard him from the horse's mouth. They're poop. They're horse poop.
Garbage. I mean, a lot of people like that cut, I guess. They're like, oh, it gives me more information about the Cult of Thorn. And that's cool, but the Cult of Thorn
is not cool.
Yeah, it's like, it's the coolest thing about these 3 movies. Well, that's not true. It's the coolest thing about 5 and 6, but it's still not cool. That's how bad those 2 are.
The coolest thing about 6 is Paul Rudd being mysterious and scary.
Hell yeah. Right after Clueless, or right before Clueless, maybe? I don't remember.
What's the year?
I think that one was 89, so it's right before Clueless.
Yeah.
Wait, is Clueless 92?
I thought Clueless was in the 90s. Early 90s. But
so anyways, I think that might be one of his first movies, if not his first.
On 5, what else about it don't you like? Is there any redeeming qualities about it?
No, because the mask is hella shitty too.
Yeah, I saw that. It does look,
I told you,
pretty pudgy.
Mm-hmm. All stars in the fucking dope show with that one. Marilyn Manson to the max.
Maybe that's who they were trying to copy.
Maybe.
Just kidding. David Bowie.
I doubt it because I don't. Maybe. David Bowie's cool though. Well, I don't know how you feel about Bowie, but there will be a Bowie episode.
I don't know much about him at all.
Mm-hmm.
I know that his name is David, and he's a Bowie.
That motherfucking Bowie.
He likes to get Bowies.
See, that's the thing. I don't even have much more to say about 5. I think it's
mediocre.
Even Donald Pleasance is pretty shitty in this movie. Like,
I mean, he's
about the same, but he just seems like he's phoning it in at this point.
No way. He's just old as the dirt. Like, he saw the dinosaurs before they died. Dude was old when people were old.
Mm-hmm. He's fucking so tight in Escape from New York, though. Like, when the Duke kidnaps him and shit, and he's like got him pinned against the wall, and he's throwing the darts at him, and he's like, I'm number 1, and he keeps making him repeat it.
Yeah.
And at the end of Escape from New York, when Donald Pleasance finally gets away, he's just firing the machine gun at him. He's like, you might be the Duke, but I'm number 1 or whatever. So sick. Like, Donald Pleasance is cool. And that's why it just feels like this movie is, for him, is like, God, he's just like, yeah, he's old, but he also doesn't really seem to care that much to me. Like, I don't know.
Because he's done it 6 times. Well, 4 times now.
4 times. Working on 6.
All right. Well, what's your rating on it? Let's hear it. Let's hear what you got.
Dude, I don't know. 3.
Ooh.
It's pretty bad. It's so unnecessary. Bloated with crap.
What
about you? What are your dose ratings?
Joes. My dose? Probably about a 3 and then a 4.
Dose ratings.
Because that movie is not very good at all.
No, it's bad.
For a Halloween movie, it doesn't have any atmosphere for me.
Yeah, it lacks.
6. That's another doozy. So
Well,
we got our ratings on. Let's move on.
Pretty much a good point to move on to.
Yeah, get on with this, because 5 was boring.
So we're in 1995. Oh, see? God damn it. Well, let me clear that up.
1995. Halloween. The Curse of Michael Myers.
So it was 1 year before Clueless, because Clueless was 96. And when I said 89 before, I was looking at 5, and not when Paul Rudd was in there. But so yeah, the probably the biggest thing about this movie is Tommy is back from the original movie, or Danny, or whatever his fucking name is.
Danny, I think it is. So I'm gonna lead this one first off.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I think I got to clear that up earlier. I think I said Tommy Jarvis earlier, but I think that's a character in Friday the 13th. I don't know.
But is Danny M something?
I think it's Tommy.
Is it Tommy?
I don't know.
Maybe we'll have to
lead us off, and I'll clear that up.
So, anyways, we have this movie. Now, this movie actually dives quite a bit into the Cult of Thorn, and Paul Rudd's character, whether it be Danny or Tommy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's kind of researched it, and that's where you see that shit you didn't like about, or you did like, about it's in the stars. See, there's a constellation that shows up every so often, and when you connect it, it makes the Cult of Thorn sign. Now, I've been theorizing about... Okay, so anyways, that's already too much about these movies. Here's where we start off in this movie, though.
Tommy Doyle.
Tommy
Doyle.
I was right, Danny.
No, and I was also wrong. Tommy Jarvis is Friday the 13th. It's just they both share the name Tommy, so I was getting confused.
I got you.
So, not Friday the 13th 1 or anything, but that's who Corey Feldman coincidentally plays in the Friday the 13th universe.
Feldman.
But yeah, Tommy Doyle. And the only reason we needed to get that right is because he does come back again in the David Gordon Green franchise.
Yes.
So, Tommy Doyle. Paul Rudd, Tommy Doyle.
So anyways, the movie starts, and Jamie Lloyd at the end of the 5th one was kidnapped while Michael was saved by the cult. So what has happened is apparently they impregnated her and had her give birth to a boy. Don't know who impregnated her. Michael?
That's what they imply.
But that's weird. Like, he doesn't seem the guy that gets down like that.
Like, why?
They must have chicken basted it.
That's also what they imply, I believe. But still, like, why?
Because it's part of the cult. They have to make this baby who's going to be the quintessential next Michael for the cult. I don't know. But anyways, that's how it starts. And she gets away, but Michael finally kills her for somebody who was, I guess, so important for the cult. He kills her in the first 15 minutes. She gets away. She gets help. It's interesting.
And shitty.
Yeah, and shitty. And Paul Rudd is the only thing I really like about the movie. Loomis is in it again.
Of course he is.
He's back at it.
How much money will I get? 6 more times what I got last time?
6 times than the first time? That's awesome.
We can just keep calling back to it many times.
Yeah. We can keep calling back to it 6 times.
6 times. I wonder how annoyed everyone is by us doing that by this point. Maybe 6
times.
Sorry. It's just funny.
In the Strode, so there are some kills I like in this one. When he kills Grandma, puts Gam Gam in the washer. Well, part of her.
Oh yeah.
Her head. Little Gam Gam in the wash.
Get gammed.
Yeah,
the kills. There's a couple kills in this movie that are cool.
But this is also like the most brutal one, because when he's in the hospital with the cult, the surgeons and everybody, he fucking just murders all of them brutally.
Absolutely. Destroys them, dude.
It's also, that movie's the first time I've ever seen, I think, Michael sprint.
He does pick up the pace, yeah.
He's like, God damn it, I'm getting old. I gotta get faster.
I can't keep doing this shit.
Oh, gosh.
No, yeah. But, I mean, I still don't really feel Paul Rudd isn't bad for it being his first movie. I'm pretty sure it's his first.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure that was a fact about him, but I also thought maybe that was one of those things that was like a tie between this and
Tommy Doyle.
Romeo and Juliet, I think, because that was also he was like the prince in that.
Wait, hold on. Let me recap this. His name's Tommy Doyle.
Tommy Doyle.
O'Doyle rules.
Yeah,
O'Doyle rules.
Maybe that was the inspiration, even or just coincidental, maybe.
Coincidental.
Okay, so it says Clueless is the first movie, but they were both the same year. So that's interesting.
Okay, cool.
So Prince Rudd, and then
Prince Rudd,
Tommy Doyle,
Timmy
which is
Doyle.
Cool. That's probably the only other cool thing, honestly. Is Paul
is.
Rudd's okay, and it's cool that they bring Tommy Doyle back to face off against Michael.
So please explain something to me.
Mm-hmm.
Who the hell is the girl with the boy?
She's just a new character. Oh, wait. You mean like as a character in the movie?
Yeah.
I think she's like she's the niece of her or something. I don't know.
Okay, so this is what I'm confused. I didn't know who she was because she was staying at the Strode's house.
But she's that guy's daughter. Like she's just they don't get along.
She's not even related to Lori. She's just a Strode and they're just living in Michael's house. But then who's the kid? The kid starts hearing voices, and that's when they're like,
she's related.
I was with Michael the night he heard the voice.
She's like a cousin or something. She's definitely related to Lori.
I was getting really annoyed with that movie, so there were some parts I missed. But that was one I was trying to remember who the F she was and why she was important, because the baby was important. But now we have this girl and her dumbass kid with dumbass Rudd doing dumbass things for the cult, like... And Michael,
would you say he was clueless?
No, he's the only one who seemed like who had a clue. He had the whole
That's true.
Cult of Thorn thing figured out. He was trying to stop Mikael.
Yeah, he had some kind of like technology that helped him figure all this shit out. I remember him.
He had a computer,
and he was like, compiling data and shit.
Compiling star data and the star maps that make the sign. And then Mr. Boots is in it.
Of course he is.
Mr. Boots.
The cult
of Thorn.
Boots. They can't let you forget. They're like, why am I still watching this? Oh, yeah. The cult of Thorn.
There's those boots again.
Cult of fucking Thorn.
The cult of boot thorns.
Yeah. I hate this movie, honestly. Like, it's pretty bad, and other than some cool kills, and again, I do also still watch this one from time to time.
This one reminds me more akin to the Resurrection, the Alien Resurrection movie, where they placed it like 300 years after 3, and they're like, we extrapolated data of you out of the magma.
Liquid hot magma.
Is that liquid hot magma?
Yeah, that's a good comparison. Resurrection, crap.
Just because
Resurrection
of how far
in both
out
franchises is crap. Coincidentally,
maybe just Resurrection is just a doomed name. Resurrect this dick.
Is there anything called Resurrection that is good? I'm trying to think. I think the silence might say it all. I can't think of a single damn thing. But interesting.
Nope.
Yeah. I mean, that doesn't mean there's not, but I can't think of anything. Just nothing stands out.
Pretty specific. But no, this movie's a pile of poop. You thought 5 was going to be a pile of poop, but then this one turns into a turd pile. Like
nobody likes a turd pile.
Nobody likes it. And it's right on your bed. It's an amber turd. This one really shit the bed too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is coming out during the time where it is the most fucking cliche thing in the world to just keep pumping the sequels out. The Leprechaun movies are finally around and they're pumping them out. And then, you got the final Nightmare on Elm Street movies finally coming out, and the Friday the 13th movies are still pumping along. So it's like, you got to put yours out, You got to fit it in there somewhere so nobody's left out. It's what you do, That, like we talked about, the budgets are absolutely
dismal.
versus the return, like what they're going for. So, and they nailed it every time. That's why we have so fucking many of them.
Yep. Nope. The name alone, name sells. Even Star Wars. Star Wars has 2 terrible freaking movies, but one of them at least made $1 billion.
But that's the problem.
1 billion turds.
It's this type of shit that's helped like shape film since, because as much as I love these movies kind of nostalgically, like the whole name recognition thing is what they keep making sequels and remakes for. And these movies are pretty to blame for that. I mean, these, and again, it's nothing new though. I talked about it with like the Bride of Frankenstein and the Son of Frankenstein, or the Son of Dracula, or Dracula's Daughter. Like they fucking milked those dry too. So it's just, when you turn it into a business, you're gonna want a good return. And when you can bank on a name like Michael Myers, get those body counts up, you get double your dollars, like Jay-Z always says.
Well, I've got nothing left to say on this movie.
Damn.
Fuck
it.
No, it's not fuck it. It's just, what really is there to say? It was a failed attempt at expanding on the Cult of Thorns. It was kind of dumb. It has the most kills in it, some pretty quite a bit brutality, but again,
an absolute shit show. Shit in the bed.
I agree.
Yeah, so
garbage.
if we keep talking about it, it's just going to be a shit talking show. I mean, when you talk about shit just comes out.
Yeah, we're not here to deep dive shit. That's gross.
Yeah.
No diving.
I want to know what
shit.
Michael ate. Does he eat? Does he poop? Is he like Kim Jong-il? He works so hard, he no poop. The poop just disappear. He don't even have a butthole. No? Maybe?
I don't know.
Well, somehow he got his niece pregnant. Which...
What? Who?
Jamie.
Oh, no, yeah. I thought you were talking about Kim Jong-un. I was like, what?
What? No, I mean,
I wouldn't. I don't know. That's weird.
You don't know.
Maybe. I don't know what goes on there.
He have no butthole. But, yeah, I don't have nothing for this movie. This movie was definitely a grab at just crap. Crap.
Give me that money.
I give this one a 2, and then on the horror scale, a 2.5.
The horror scale.
The horror scale.
I don't know. Yeah, probably like a 3. I think 5 and 6 are equal shit.
Equal poop. But this one,
they're both not good, and this one at least has Paul Rudd, but weirdly he doesn't really help or anything at all. So
it's also weird acting from him, because he tries to act like this kind of dark character, but it doesn't come off.
It's pretty bizarre.
I still like Paul Rudd. But yeah, here's what I want to ask you now that we've done this rating. What is your rating for the sequel / Thorn saga trilogy combination of all of the movies?
Timelines of galaxies and
the stars align on the Thorn trilogy. What's your rating for it?
I don't know. It's more good than bad. 1, 2, and 4 are good, and then 2 bad ones. So
yeah, I guess it's
probably about like a 7 overall. I guess
7 overall.
I need to figure out how to calculate all the ratings into one
median.
One deal. Yeah, it's probably not that hard.
But
I bet I'm not that far off either. Probably like 6.5, 7.
The 3s
maybe.
Drop it real low.
True. Probably like a 5.
7. Even if you give it 7, I can understand why you gave Halloween 1 a 10.
A 10, and then an 8.
Yeah, so they started off pretty high.
Yeah,
but
2 8s and 10.
7 sounds good. I'd probably give it about a 6.5, 7. If on the horror scale trilogy, probably a 7.
It just sucks that we have to talk about them separately in timelines like that, because there's really only one other franchise like that, and it's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
I've not watched a lot of them.
And also, there's also this. I don't know how familiar you are with the Leprechaun movies.
Yes.
But Leprechaun Returns, the newest one, basically in one fell swoop says that the leprechauns in every movie but the first movie are a different version of that same leprechaun.
So it's not the same one?
It's the same one in Leprechaun 1, and then Leprechaun Returns. His name's Lubden, but in like 2, 3 Leprechaun in Space, In the Hood, those are all different leprechauns. That's what it tells us in Returns. So that's also very weird. And I would absolutely love to hear your double ratings for all of those movies.
We gotta do them. Gotta do them.
We may not be able to wait till next Halloween for that one. No. But we'll get it in here.
Horror movies are time for all times of the year, especially winter. Dark times call for dark movies. But
absolutely.
So that was the Thorn trilogy. That was the first episode of our Halloween trilogy that we're about to have.
Yeah, we'll have to call this a Thorn trilogy of its own because it's a curse.
It is cursed. The curse of Michael's bullshit Myers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I love Michael Myers, but
it's not Michael Myers' fault that they made his movies bad. Some of them, but
just give me that money.
I'm glad we did these movies.
Hell yeah! Well, everyone, just tune in next week for part 2 of this bitch.
Part 2.
It'll be in the place of a side dive because it'll be a shorter episode. We're only really going to talk about 2 movies in that episode. H2O and Resurrection, and just brief recaps of 1 and 2, our opinions and thoughts real quick and shit like that. So
how they tie in.
Other than that, check us out on all the regular socials that we're on. Facebook,
follow us
Twitter,
on everything.
Yeah, hit that follow button. Do us a solid. I want to keep making content for you guys, so we'll never run out of space and room for all the things that we have to talk about. So don't let us run out of them. Follow us.
Keep them coming, and we'll see you guys next week on part 2. This is your boy Rex
and